let's get this thing started. So how to find your dream clients victoriously. So who am I? I am a growth mindset coach. Like I said, I am the owner of Victorious Lifestyle Coaching, mother of 2 fur babies, lover of all things creepy, weird, and peculiar. I'm a gym junkie. I'm a yogi lover. I'm definitely all about self-love, self-care, and really immersing yourself in that first, because in order to be your best self, you got to take care of yourself. So definitely really immersed myself in all things fitness and wellness. Survivor of addiction, depression, and anxiety. And some things I resonate with are being a leader, an entrepreneur, a friend, a sister, a daughter, and just a lover of life. So if you guys want to drop in the comments, I don't know if there might have been a couple of people here, what you guys do and where you guys are tuning in from. All right, so before you know who your dream clients are, you have to first ask yourself, what kind of coach do you really want to be? Like I said in the beginning, we all have been called to serve others on some kind of level. And with that being said, it's all about, just being of service to anyone you can't help. But when it comes to thriving in your coaching business, you want to work with clients that are going to be basically your borderline besties. Are they going to be those people that you want to talk to every session and in between sessions? They're going to be they're going to be people that you want to be a part of your tribe, because these are people, you're not just doing this for a paycheck. You've been called to serve, and to serve at your highest, you have to be at your best. And to be at your best, you have to be at your happiest. So it's one of those things that deep diving and figuring out what kind of coach you are really can set a tone to how successful you are in your coaching business. With that being said, the importance of really immersing yourself in this stuff and figuring this stuff out will help you expand your mind on, who you are showing up in social media and the relationships that you have with your clients, and the overall know, like, and trust factors you build with your following. So first, you got to ask yourself, what is your superpower? What is your superpower? Your superpower is your expertise in a specific area of life. It could have been a major struggle that you've gone through and overcome, a life's passion or a hobby that is just something that you are that lights you up when you talk about it, lights you up when you get to go and do it. It doesn't feel like work to you. It could have been something that you've successed and you've accomplished and that you've mastered in life, that for a lot of people, maybe maybe you don't think it's a great, success in your life. But for a lot of people, like, I know, Latanya, you went to nursing school. Like, that's huge. That is huge. Not a lot of people make it through nursing school. Trust me, I tried. It was one of those things that, for me, I definitely see that as a huge accomplishment and something that you've mastered in your life. So it's like looking back, like, what have you gone through in life? What struggles have you gone through in life? What do friends think of when they think of you? What do your friends know you for? And, I had some examples of, weight loss. Maybe you've overcome, obesity. Maybe you've overcome, maybe a binge eating disorder. Maybe you've overcome some kind of journey with your fitness, with, weight loss and fitness kind of are going to go hand in hand. Maybe it's an addiction that you've overcome. Maybe it was a really, really hard divorce that you went through, and it led to you becoming a single parent. Maybe it was some kind of traumatic event. Maybe it was a sickness or a disease that maybe took a loved one from you. Or maybe, just becoming an entrepreneur, and it's something that you've really embraced wholeheartedly, that you've kind of been called to do. At the end of the day, your superpower is your calling. It is what you have been called to do on this earth. It's something that it lights you up inside. One of my favorite quotes is, be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. And for me, that, like, me empowering the empowers of the world, being that number one tough love cheerleader in someone's life, like, that's what sets my soul on fire. My friends come to me because I'm that rock for all of them. I'm that person, that confidant, that person that's going to be real and raw with them, that's going to empathize with them, that has that level of empathy that, goes beyond just saying, oh, I feel bad for you, or, oh, it's going to be okay, suck it up. It's like, let me feel this with you, but let's figure out how we can power through here. Let's not let this setback hold us back, but let it be a setup for a comeback. So, like, that's some of, like, my superpowers. Like, I had to grow up at a really young age, and I've allowed that mess that I went through with addiction, with depression, with anxiety. I let those things fuel where I'm at today. I didn't let those things hold me back in life. So really take a deep dive into yourself of, like, Who are you? What are you known for? What is your superpower? What do your friends come to you for? What do your coworkers come to you for? What is something that just you catch on with really, really easily, or something that you're just passionate about, but you haven't really looked at it as a way to, brand yourself with that, so jot a couple things down. What resonates? What are those resonating points in your life that have surfaced, that have led to you becoming where you're at today? So with that being said, with your superpower comes your niche. So I want to talk about your niche for a little bit, because I think a lot of people, if you're watching this and you're a coach, in the beginning, hearing all about your niche becomes a very overwhelming topic. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'll let my niche pick me. I'm not going to worry about labeling myself a specific kind of coach. I don't really know what kind of coach I want to be yet. And honestly, the importance of having a niche is what will take your business from a 2 to a 10. Why? Because when you know your niche, when you know who your dream client is, all your content, all your copy, all your branding becomes immersed around speaking to a specific person. Like I said in the beginning, we've all been called to serve, but if all you're doing is just putting out motivational and inspirational stuff, but nothing's really clicking with people, you're getting a bunch of likes, but nobody's interested in really working with you, then there's a disconnect there. Why? Because you're not being specific enough with your content. There's nothing wrong with being, being inspirational and having that content, that value that you put out on people's news feeds, just for anybody, right? But when you start becoming very specific about who you're talking to, my coach has the analogy of like the crowded room theory of, if you're in a crowded room and you're yelling, hey, maybe one or two people look up, but they're going to keep walking. If I say, hey, LaTanya, guess what? She's going to turn and look at me immediately. Why? Because it was that specific. So whenever you create content, is it that specific, or is it just you yelling, hey, in a crowded room? And that's why the importance of your niche is so critical to how far and how fast you expand yourself. Because if you're just another, life coach, well, I mean, not to say that you can't help everybody, but when you think about it, what are you going to be like? What's going to set you apart from all the life coaches out there? What sets you apart from all the life coaches? Because there's something that you can say to someone that will resonate with them that if I said it, it wouldn't. Like I love Tony Robbins, and I use Tony Robbins and Les Brown a lot in my, in my videos. I quote them a lot, right? But it's one of those things that there's a lot of people who don't know about Les Brown, who don't know about Tony Robbins. And if I just shared a Les Brown video, do you think they'd watch that 3-hour video of Les Brown? Probably not. They should, but they probably wouldn't. And so for me, it's like I take those powerful quotes, or I take what I learned from them, and I use that as my message a lot to inspire people, to get them thinking differently, to change their perspective. Why? Because they'll listen to me. They might not listen to that 3-hour video, but they'll listen to me. Now, there might be some things that I say that your people aren't going to listen to. Why? Because they're not my people. They're your people. So it's about taking what you have. What can you serve your audience with that will be specific enough that'll make people raise their hand and say, hey, you've been talking straight to my soul. You've been saying my name with all of your content. I need to work with you. I want to work with you. When you start really narrowing down what your superpowers are, then your niche starts to thrive through that. So like I said, weight loss, fitness, divorce, entrepreneurship, stuff like that. So with your superpower comes your niche. So what is your niche? Okay. Like I said, if you don't really know this, that's okay. And I know that it's something that a lot of new coaches get very overwhelmed. They just say health and wellness or health and fitness coach, and that's it. And that's okay. But it's about really setting a tone to who you are outside of the giant pool of life and health coaches that are out there. And so, go back. All right. So your niche, to be specific, is a specialized segment of a market for a particular kind of coaching service. So some examples is a money mindset coach, a body confidence coach, or even more specific, a women's self-love coach, or a bride's wellness coach, a content strategist coach, a men's identity coach. These are very, very specific. Now, I think a lot of people take these examples and it's like, but none of those resonate with me. Well, guess what? You get to pick what that says, what kind of coach you want to be. If there's not one already out there, then you can be the first. There's not a ton of growth mindset coaches out there. But for me, it's like, I know what my niche is. I know how specific I am. I know what it's like to live in a fixed mindset, and I know what it means to live and thrive with a growth mindset. And that's why I've attached myself to that kind of coaching and to that kind of niche, And so for you guys, it's like when you start to look at your superpowers, when you start to see what really starts to set your soul on fire, how can you take what you are already so very good at, that you're already so very passionate about, and turn it into something that makes you different and unique in the marketplace? Because those who can charge $10,000 a session and $1,000 a session, the difference in those two people is the kind of value they bring to the table. They're not both are, unique in their own ways, but what kind of value are you bringing to your specific niche? If you're just another life coach or just another health coach, that's all good and well. But what are you so good at that you're bringing specific and expertise value to the table so you can, work your way up to charging that high ticket price? Again, it's not about money, but it's about, if you want to be a coach full time, what does that look like monetarily? When you really allow yourself to expand and take on your coaching full time, you got to start looking at the numbers, because at the end of the day, we do all have those financial responsibilities, and it's about when you allow someone to really find you in the market that they're looking for. So like I said, like a money mindset coach. If I was struggling with my finances, would I want to go to a money mindset coach, or would I want to go to a life coach or a finance coach? It's like money mindset, that's really specific, and it's like when you go to the doctor, right? When you go to the doctor and you have a tumor in your brain, do you just want to go see your general practitioner? Or do you want to go to a neurosurgeon who has been studying and has extensive knowledge for years on working on those types of tumors in your brain? I'm going to vote for the latter. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to vote for the latter, that I would want to go to someone who is specific and has the expertise, who is the complete expert in that field. So when you guys start to really look at what kind of niche you are, don't let it intimidate you and don't let it hold you back. I think it's very easy to get caught up in like, oh, I'll just figure it out. And it's like, well, do you want to wait a year to figure out what it's going to be? Or do you know already what really you're passionate about, that you've gone through a struggle you've gone through, that you could help someone with, that would really start to set you apart in the market, so that even though you're just starting, you could really start maximizing how you show up and start setting that authoritative tone on your profiles and in your social media, in your content. Like you can start showing up as the expert, not just another one that's like, hey, let's do a fitness challenge, or hey, let's do I'm doing a vegetarian challenge right now, right? Like, to me, it's like when you start getting specific, and I'm doing a masterclass for finding your dream client, then you guys can have masterclasses on things that set you apart, so you can start showing up as the expert in your field, and you can start, really immersing your business in that way. So with your niche, now comes your avatar. All right, hold on one second. Oh, thank you, Tanya. Heather, good to see you, babe. Sorry, I just now saw the chat, so it's not popping up for me for some reason. All right, so with your niche, now comes your avatar. What or who is your avatar? Your avatar is going to be, for me, I'm very visual, so I honestly created a profile for my dream avatar, but an avatar is basically going to be, your dream client. Who are they? Who is she inside and out? What are her demographics? Is it a male or is it a female? How old is she? When you think of like a survey that you take, they have like those little, 18 to 24, 25 to 32, 33 to 40. Where do they fall at? Because when you know what age range, you'll start to know what kind of language do they use. You know, millennials use a certain kind of language outside of, a Gen X or Gen Y or whatever it is, right? And what career path are they on? Are they someone in transition of career paths? Are they someone who loves what they do already? Are they an entrepreneur? Are they a coach? Are they a doctor? Are they a stay-at-home mom? What do they do? And what are their psychographics? What are their hobbies? What are their passions? What are their goals? What are their fears? Why are they coming to find you? When you really break down who your avatar is and you get on their map, you're starting to speak their language, so your content is resonating with who is watching. Like I said, it's great. It's all good and well to be very, motivational and inspirational and all that good stuff on your profiles. But when you start putting out content that resonates in their language, it takes it to a whole nother level. And, it's very easy to get caught up in just wanting to pop out as much content as you can. But, I want you guys to ask yourself, is your content resonating with your dream clients? Are you having people jump in your DMs and say, I need to work with you? Are you following up with people on the content that you're posting? It's one of those things that these are questions you need to be asking yourself, because it could be making or breaking your progress with how fast you're going through, how fast you're moving up in your business with your coaching business. And that being said, so here is, my avatar. I have 3 different profiles for her, but this is one of them. This is Emma Mason. She's 29. She's a single female, and she's learning to find her mindset, her identity, and her voice as a coach. She's a blogger. She's a bartender. She wants to get out of that, but she really wants to find her voice in the coaching world. She posts all these motivational stuff, but she wants things that are in her voice. She wants to brand herself confidently in social media. And not only that, but she wants to have massive clarity on where she wants to take her business. She's got these amazing dreams for herself. She's got that vision. I love to work with visionaries, only with visionaries. Why? Because they're willing to put in the work for the visions that they've created for themselves. They're the kind of people that sit at work dreaming about that dream life that they want so bad that they can't even, they feel like they're not being productive with their day-to-day. Because that was me. What's funny about your avatar is at the end of the day, it comes back to who are you? Where were you at when you were first starting with your struggles? I was that one sitting in my cubicle with like 13 Les Brown quotes around me while I listened to him, just dreaming about the life of being a full-time coach. And for me, it was like, I was hungry for that life. And that's why I had to take action and do like just work 14, 16-hour days, do whatever it took to get me where I wanted to go. And that's why I wanted to work with people who are willing to put in the work, who are visionaries, who are passionate, who are hungry for more, and that was my avatar. Maybe your avatar is someone who is a stay-at-home mom who has let her health and wellness go, has no self-care and no self-love. And she's just drowning in the imperfections that she sees every time she looks in the mirror. Or maybe it's with someone who doesn't know who they are anymore. Maybe in the middle of their life, their kids have moved out of their house and they don't really know their spouse anymore. They don't really know who they are. And they have lost that passion for their life. Maybe it's someone who, is in the midst of transitioning their jobs, and they're looking for someone to keep them accountable with their goals and, move that needle forward and keep someone. Like, accountability between friends is great. But when you have someone you have paid to keep you accountable, that's another level of accountability you cannot find in friendship. I've tried. I've kept myself pretty accountable, but the level of accountability that my coach holds me at is night and day comparison from what I've had in the past with friends. And for me personally, when you have a coach, it's, you show up for yourself about right here. Your coach pushes you to show up at your fullest potential. Like, that is what having a coach means, And so for me, it's like, my dream clients are looking for that level of accountability, that are pushing and powering through in life, but they're not seeing, they're perfectionists. They get stuck in that creative bubble, but they have these massive dreams for themselves. They just don't know how to get there yet, and that's where I come in. But for you guys, I want you guys to sit down and really think about, who is this person? What are they coming to you for? What is their language that they're using on a day-to-day basis? I even went back to the extent of like, what was I posting about a year or two ago? What was the language I was using back then when I knew I wanted more, but I didn't really know what it was? And then going back to posts from 6 months ago when I first started coaching, and there's some cringe-worthy videos that I posted. Oh my goodness. But what was my mindset back then? You know, because I'm helping who I was roughly 6 months ago, you know, and I've taken massive action. I know I worked with 2 different coaches. I've done a lot to immerse myself to get myself where I'm at today. That I can say in 91 days, I put my notice to my 9 to 5 because I had worked my little butt off to get where I wanted to in order to show up for my clients like I wanted to, and to see my business where I wanted to see it as fast as I could, you know? And so for you guys, when you really start breaking this stuff down, I know it can be intimidating. I know, like, you don't have to create a profile. I created a profile because I like visuals. You don't have to do that. I don't even know. I Googled that picture of that girl, by the way. That's not actually a person. But like, for me, it's like, I'm visual. I wanted to see that, and, you know, and if you don't have standards, if you don't have the bare minimum of who you want to work with, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. I don't know who that's a quote from someone. I don't know who, but it's something that I've had to set a tone for. Who do I want to work with? What are the non-negotiables? Because it's one of those things that we all want to serve others, but we don't want to work with someone who doesn't want to pay us. We don't want to work with someone who's going to flake out on client sessions that we have to chase down, that keeps rescheduling and rescheduling because they're not ready for change. You know, that's why I say I work with people who have a vision for themselves, who are hungry for more. So finding out what your non-negotiables are really, really, they're deal breakers, honestly. So for you guys, it's one of those things that when you start setting a tone to like, this is the kind of person I want to work with, and these are the non-negotiables of like where they're at in life, what they're willing to put, what kind of work are they willing to put in? You know, some people are just addicted to their struggles and they're just not ready for change. They say they want change and they're just not ready. And I've had clients like that, and it was heartbreaking to see them each and every week and talk to them almost every day and have them in the same place. And it made me question myself as the coach. And I had to take a step back and realize it was not me. It was the fact that they were not ready to receive my help and to actually take the steps necessary to change. And some people are just not ready. And when you realize that, for me, it was like I had no standards on clients here, right? I just wanted to help everybody. So I took on clients that weren't ready for change. They thought they were. So when you have these non-negotiables, it will help you so much in the heartache and so much with the pain of going and working with someone who's not ready for change, because I know how exhausting that can be. And so, with your avatar, you need to ask yourself, where does your avatar hang out? What groups would they be in on Facebook? Would they be in self-love groups or health and wellness or vegan groups or, divorced dad groups or single mom groups? What groups on Facebook would they be attracted to? And usually it's going to be groups that you might already be in or that you can join, because these groups are like, Facebook loves groups right now. They're all about groups. It's all good and well to have a Facebook business page, but groups is where it's at right now with Facebook. And so figuring out, where does your dream client hang out, and what are their biggest struggles and pain points? Their biggest, like, what is keeping them up at night? What are they stressing out about? What are they dreaming about? What are they daydreaming about? What is that end result that they're praying for right now? They are praying for an answer, and that can be you. And the longer that you just put out anything out there instead of the expertise content out there, the longer they're waiting for you to show up, because they don't realize you're the expert, you're the answer to their prayers. And it's like, if they could have 3 wishes, what would they be? If they could have 3 wishes granted, what would they be? Because when you start filtering out all the just generalized content you put out there, and you start getting specific, like to the point, what 3 wishes they'd want granted, and you start granting those wishes in your content, game changer. It will change the game immediately, because then the people who are liking and commenting on that kind of content are your dream clients. They're holding up their hand and saying, pick me. And those are the people you follow up with. Those are the people you create friendships with. It's not about getting in the DMs and trying to sell them. It's about creating relationships with these people, because It might be a 3-month contract, but it could be a 12-month contract you might be signing with someone. You know, you don't have to be limited to just 3 months. But then again, these are people you're going to be talking to on a regular basis. And with that being said, you want to have that friendship be a part of the start of your relationship as coach and client. It can't just be, hey, can I help you with that? Here's what I have to offer you to sell. Like, no. Being very, very genuine and just asking thanking them for liking your content, for showing love on your post. Like, what resonated with you about that content? What resonated with you about that question? You know, or just asking them, as simple as asking how their day is. And I get that seems kind of, some people see it as fake. And if you don't really care, then don't really ask. How about that? For my opinion, I actually care. I want to know how things are with you. So I ask. But some people just use that as a hook line to get the conversation started, to take you down their sales pitch. And it's not about that for me. To me, it's like, yes, there are questions that I ask people to qualify them, to see if I want to work with them. But it's also about creating rapport in the DMs. You know, it's great to say thank you on a comment, and then that's the end of the conversation. And then what? Then nothing. Usually people are scared to ask for help. You know, they don't even know that you might be taking clients on right now. And the fear of rejection is holding them back from shooting you a message to ask and see what you have to offer. So realizing that when you're getting in a conversation with someone, it is not about making a sale or being salesy. It's about being of service to these people, because there's people out there waiting for you to show up. They're waiting for you to get in their DMs, see how their day is going. You might be the only person that asks them how their day went. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't have that kind of support in life, and their coach ends up being their massive support, you know, in their life to get that action going, to get the needle moving forward in their life towards the dream life they've been dreaming about, you know? And so in review, it's like, you've got your superpower. What makes you different and unique in the marketplace? You've got your niche. What kind of coach are you? What kind of expert are you showing up as? And your avatar. Who is your dream client you're talking to in your content? When you do that, when you go through these steps, you will start to have victorious clarity on your dream client, so that your content aligns with it, so that your questions align with it, and so that you start to get in front of people you actually want to work with and that you can actually help. Because like I said, it's not about making a sell. It's not. It's about making sure that you can be of service to someone. And so, you know, when you're finding your dream client, things just start reviewing. And this is huge. It's one of those things that when you don't review this kind of stuff, it's what makes or breaks, you know, coaches making it in this world, you know, because becoming an entrepreneur, becoming your own boss, it comes with a lot of responsibilities. And if you're not being very strategic about your content, about your chat sequence questions, about your Facebook groups, the groups that you're starting and the groups you're getting in, and even your friends list, then you're just going to spin your wheels out. And you're really not going to see the traction that you could be seeing in your business. So, you know, when you're, you know, reviewing your content, what is your message? What are you using your dreams client language? What kind of words do they use? You know, my dream client, she wants to be authentic. She wants to be real. She's a powerhouse, go-getter kind of girl. So I show up, and because that's who I am. But I show up as my authentic self, and I push that because I want my clients to know I'm here to tell them that we're going to keep you just as you are, and we're going to find massive clarity in your content and in your business and who you are and how you're showing up as a coach. You know, so what times are you posting at? So the ideal times to post usually are 11, 3, and 7. But if your dream client's a mom, 11, 3, and 7 is not going to be in there. They're not going to see it. Why? Because they're moms. So posting at 10 a.m. and at 2 p.m. before pickup and at 9 p.m. after, you know, the kids have gone to bed, that would be the best time to post. So what times are you actually posting stuff? You know, and then, you know, chat sequence questions. With the chat sequence questions, you're creating rapport. And while you're creating that rapport, you are qualifying them as an ideal client. So it's like, where do you want to take that, you know, where do you want to take the conversation? You're getting to know this person, you're getting on their map. What are they dealing with? Who are they as a person? What are their likes? What are their interests? Are they a mom? You're a mom too? Connect. How old are your little ones? How are things, going on with COVID? I know it's been a struggle for me. Creating that rapport that you get them, that you see their pain point, that you see who they are as a person in life, and that they're not just a dollar sign to you. But all while doing that, you're qualifying them as a dream client. Because if they're working, if I start getting in the conversation with someone and they're like, oh yeah, I'm already working with a mindset coach and a business coach. Well, I'm a 2-in-1 kind of coach, right? I say I'm more mindset than business, but if your mindset's not right, your business will never thrive. It all goes hand in hand with me. But it's one of those things that if they're working with 2 of those coaches, if I can be of service to them, great. If they're still in a dream client to me, am I going to still create that rapport? Yes, I am. Why? Because they're people that I would resonate with. My clients are my borderline besties. They're people I want to talk to in between sessions. So at the end of the day, even if they already have a coach, I'm not going to, invite them into a clarity call per se, but I'm still going to get to know them. It's not like, oh, we're not good for each other. Okay, block. All right, bye. Like, no, I'm not going to ghost them. I'm still going to create that relationship with them, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's all about creating rapport. It's all about creating those relationships, not just about creating those dollar signs. The dollar signs come at the end, but it's all about first being of service to those who need you. And then Facebook groups. So just being of value. When you join and interact in groups where your ideal clients hang out, you've got to make sure that you're interacting with people. You can't just join that group and then expect that the dream clients just start flooding your DMs. It doesn't work that way. You've got to engage with people. You've got to create those relationships and those friendships. Facebook groups are huge right now. Like I said, it brings like-minded people together. So getting in those groups like that, and I know there's a lot of those groups have very strict rules. It's not about promoting your services in this group, but promoting yourself as a person. Like, what are you bringing to the table? What kind of value are you bringing to people? If someone asks a question, answer it if you know the answer. Don't be scared to hold back your value. When you give massive value, it leaves people wondering, well, if she gives this for free, what do her services look like? Never feel like you're giving away too much. There is that thin line where, you don't want to be coaching people for free alongside of everything else, but it's about being of service to people, because when you give, then you shall receive, but when you hold back your gifts, you're never in a place to receive back from the universe. In my opinion, that's how I see it. And when you create your own Facebook group, you're bring that value and that level of authority and create that following. Don't be scared to, oh, are they an ideal client? I don't know if I want to invite them to my Facebook group or not. Invite them. I have my Victorious Warrior Women group, right? Not everyone in there is a coach, but at the end of the day, it's not about, oh, I'm only inviting coaches. I'm only inviting entrepreneurs. If you're a badass boss babe, you're in my group. Why? Because like-minded individuals need to tribe together. It's not always about only dream clients being in there. What if someone I've created an amazing friendship with decides to become a coach? And I've been there throughout her journey of whatever else she's been doing. And she's like, hey, I would love to work with you. You're my dream, you're my dream coach I've been looking for. I've decided to take this avenue. You never know who people know, so it's like who you invite to your group. Yes, you can be pretty strategic, but it doesn't have to be, don't have to overthink it, I guess is what I'm really getting to. Don't overthink it. Just make sure you bring value. Make sure you're consistent. Consistency is key. That's something I'm really working on with my group, because I've got so many things in the background, but show up for people. It creates that know, like, trust factor, and it creates that authority. When you bring massive value, it creates that authoritative, like you're the expert on this, and your friends list. So, how people always post about like, oh, if you don't like this, then I'm deleting, you're getting deleted out of all your friends list. Well, you have no one to blame, because if you haven't been engaging in content with them, if you haven't been liking their stuff, they're never going to see your stuff. That's why you only see the same 100 people in your newsfeed, because you're not engaging with the 5,000 other people that you got on your friends list. Like Facebook likes to bring like-minded individuals together. So the more stuff you have in common with people on your friends list, you see their content more. So when you want to go through your friends list and do a cleanup, don't post about it. That's just, the only people who are going to see that are people you engage with. You know what I'm saying? The people who don't engage with you, but you might see them as a dream client, and you want them to start seeing your content, get on their Facebook and like and comment on a couple of their things. Don't be fake about it. Find a couple pieces of content within the past month that resonate with you. Like, oh, that was awesome. Powerful quote. Oh, beautiful pic of the fam, whatever it is. Resurrect that friendship on Facebook. They will start to see your content if you do that. And for me personally, I really use Facebook just for business now. So for me, it's one of those things that if you're not an ideal client, you're not going to be on my friends list. I don't need 5,000 friends. I'm not after, it's not a numbers game to me right now. For me, it's like, I'd rather have 800 true dream clients and people who are like-minded like me on my friends list than 5,000 people who are just a bunch of strangers, and half of them, you won't see their content anyways. So it's about really going through your friends list and adding people within groups that you have a like-mindedness with. Maybe you guys connect through a couple of pieces of content in a group. Go ahead and add them as a friend. You don't have to keep the friendship there. I'm not saying to, just start spamming people with a bunch of friend requests and then spam them with a bunch of group invites and then send out a bunch of DMs. There's strategy behind creating rapport with strangers on Facebook, but it's about first getting out there, connecting with people. And from that, you can really start to, show up as the authority figure per se, as the expert in your field on what your superpower is, and start creating those relationships that can turn into clients for you. And so a couple friendly reminders. You will have clients that are the exception from the rule. So I have my dream client, right? Well, there's going to be exceptions from the rule. I have clients that are not 29 and single. I have clients in their 30s and 40s that are married with kids. Why? Because we vibe together. We align. It's one of those things that just because you have your dream client, just because you have your niche, just because you have your superpower, I changed my niche from body confidence and self-love coach to a growth mindset coach to help people with their mindset and starting a business. But my thing is, if I had someone come to me and say, I would love to work with you, I've been following you forever, I know that, you've kind of changed things up a bit, but can you help me? And I vibe with this person. Yeah, I'm going to help them. I work with new coaches, but if a brand ambassador or, just a female entrepreneur, we crossed paths and she wanted my help, I would help her if we vibe together, but I had to get off the high horse of thinking like anyone who comes and asks me for help, I have to help them. No, I'm not the only person in the universe that can help people if they come and ask for my help. So it's like setting the tone and setting the standard of like, who do you want to work with and who do you not want to work with? And it's okay to not want to work with someone. I'm giving y'all permission right now. It is okay to not want to work with someone. Why? Because at the end of the day, there's a friend of a friend or a coach of a coach. If you're a coach, then more than likely you've got coaching people in your network, at least one or two that you can refer out that person if they're not a dream client for you and you don't want to work with them. Being fit to the tone of like, if someone comes to you, but you don't align with them, that's okay. Just tell them like, at the end of that call or at the end of that conversation, it's like, you know what, like, I really want to help you, but I don't think I'm the best fit for that. Because there's some people that will come to you that maybe they don't need a coach, but maybe they need a counselor or a therapist. Maybe they need some more in depth or some more specific and more specific kind of help than what you have to offer. And that's okay too. It's about doing what's best for that person. We're all here to be of service. So when you take a step back out of the shoes of like, oh, they're coming out, I have to help them. Well, you are going to help them. You're going to either refer them to a fellow coach or you're going to give them your best advice that if maybe coaching isn't what they're really needing, maybe they're needing something else. And just let them know that, you're always here for a quick talk if you need someone, but that you don't think your services is the best fit for them. So don't be scared to tell someone that you aren't what they're looking for because they think that's so far you're the only thing that they have found that aligns with what they're wanting. I had to get out of that mindset. So I'm just giving y'all permission to really take a step back and take that pressure off yourself, and then Little trick of the trade on Facebook. Wait to respond to your comments at least 24 hours to boost engagement. Now, it goes against everything you probably ever heard of, that, oh no, I got to be right there. I got to respond immediately. Got to let them know I care. It doesn't mean that you don't care. Okay. Now, as coaches, we're on Facebook and social media so much more than other people. There's some people that are probably on social media more than us, but I will say for my business, I'm on social media a lot. So it was weird to not immediately want to respond to anybody who commented on my content. Well, when I took a step back, that's why you see content that's 2 or 3 days old, that's a month or 2 months old, is because it got boosted back up. Why? Because new comments after 24 hours boost engagement. It boosts it back up on people's news feeds, so they see it again and new people see it. So don't respond immediately. You can like or love it, but wait a day or two and then go back and respond. And you know what I do is, like, if I have a ton of comments, I'll only respond to 3 or 4 at a time to let that keep boost up in people's news feeds so that they see it more and more and more, so that you don't have to post every day. You don't have to post something new or 3 times a day. You don't have to do that. You can go back in old content and respond to a couple comments, and that gets pushed back to the top like it's a brand new post, So you don't have to think like, oh, I've got to post 3 times a day, 7 days a week. No, don't overwhelm yourself with that much content. I'm all about content. I love content. But, with a lot of people, working 9 to 5s, multiple jobs, it's a lot. But you really want to start taking your, start showing up on your Facebook and social media as the authoritative figure, right? So it's like to always be there, have that consistency, and by doing that, you don't have to post all the time. You just go back through and respond to some comments, and it gets boosted back up to the newsfeed. So on your call to action or your dream client call out post. So it's like, I've created posts that say, I'm looking for 3 badass babes that, this was back when I was a self-love coach. I had said, I'm looking for 3 badass babes looking to break up with bad habits, find consistency in their daily routine, and fall back in love with their lives and bodies again. Very long sentence. I needed to shut that down. It was a lot. But anyways, nonetheless, right? I said 3 badass babes. 3 badass babes resonates with a woman over a man. I didn't say 3 women, but badass babes is going to be more of a millennial or a more powerhouse woman's going to be like, oh, that's me. Oh, yes, I need to break up with some bad habits. I definitely need consistency in my daily routine. I definitely want to fall back in love with my life and body again. Like that called out my dream clients hardcore. And so anyone who liked or commented, guess what? I got into the DMs with them. I connected with them outside of just saying, just liking a comment that they did, or like liking a comment that they, posted on that. I went into the DMs and said, hey, thank you so much for showing love and support on my post. Like, are you a badass babe too? And started the conversation, like what resonated with you about that? Are you looking to break up with bad habits? Like what part of that, what really called to you in that post? So figuring out like, what does your chat sequence questions need to look like when you get in the DMs with someone to see if they're an ideal fit, so that you can end that conversation with either inviting them to your group or inviting them on a call to have a clarity call with you, have an OTR, have a whatever you want to call it, discovery call, whatever you want to call it, right? But figuring out, like going through the chat sequence with them, create the rapport, get to know this person. What is their story? And figure out, can you help them? Because if you can help them, that's when you can ask, do you want help with that? Are you ready? Would you like to get on a free, no strings attached call? And if they're not an ideal client, be like, hey, I have this amazing group that has a ton of value I think you would thrive in, and invite them to your group if they're not an ideal client to get on the phone with, and just stay true and authentic to who you are. I think, in the beginning of my coaching journey, I felt like I needed to be what I call a kumbaya coach, someone who's all about positive thinking. And we're going to talk like this, and we're going to take 5 deep breaths before we talk about how great our week was. And it's like, to me, I'm all about tough love. I'm going to be in your face, high energy, tons of passion, all about the warrior mindset, all about being a badass, empowered, empowering the empowers of the world. Like that's what sets my soul on fire. And for me, it was like, I tried to like mold myself in the beginning to fit all these other coaches that I saw, and it's like, it was exhausting to feel like I had to change who I was in order to be successful. And at the end of the day, it was completely wrong. At the end of the day, I needed to stay true and authentic to who I am in order to be successful. Because when I finally ditched the script, when I finally started showing up on people's news feeds, in the DMs as who I am, who you saw on a live video on Facebook and who you saw on a clarity call and who you saw in person, it's all the same person across the board. There was never about a filter I felt like I needed to put on between clients and friends. I'm just who I am. So when you show up in your news feed, when you show up in your videos and your content and the DMs on calls and sessions, just as you are, that is when you will be successful. Because it's not about figuring out what mask you have to put on in order to get in front of someone. It's just about you being you, showing up as you, because your vibe will attract your tribe. Your vibe will be what brings people that align with you and your message and where you're trying to go in life. And the people who are in about it, they will vibe off. So it's about really just staying true to who you are, because your dream clients will resonate with that. You'll be speaking language that at the end of the day is honestly going to be your language even. You know, when you get specific on content and verb it in their way, and then it's all about, you know, selling them what they want, but giving them what they need. You know, sell them what they want, give them what they need, because people want results. People want change. They're tired of struggling. And that's why they've come to you. So figuring out a way to really show up as you with the keys to the dream that they've been visualizing. So with that being said, you know, how can I help? I hope today has been nothing of massive value for you guys. I'm so appreciative of all of you for joining in on figuring out who your dream client is, because when you start to get massive clarity on that, your business can truly